So just had a interesting conversation this morning with White Mike. If you don't know White Mike, he is the YouTube guy
White
for the
guy here named
Junkies.
Mike.
He is a white dude named Mike. Yeah. But he's in a dynasty league, and he's all fired up about Ben Sinnott. He needs a tight end, and he thinks Sinnott has a real opportunity. I think Sinnott has a real opportunity too. What do you think his role is early on, B, knowing that Zach Ertz was brought here and Zach Ertz has kind of dialed in for Cliff before?
I still think they're gonna bring him along slowly. The hell was that? I think
That's Jeff working the big board.
It's going to come down to how much he picks up and how much he can handle early. I believe that in this day and age, you see two tight end sets a lot, and I can see him on the field early. If he showed that he can be a good pass receiver, he'll get on the field even more. I still believe that Ertz has a great role this year. But I think he was brought in more as a person to help them establish their culture than he was a guy they're going to depend on to be that big play guy.
I agree with that. I think Eckler in some capacity also. I think if you're talking like fantasy perspective, the question with Sinnott, this isn't about football, it's about fantasy football. Is he do they want him to be Kittle or do they want him to be Juszczyk? Because Juszczyk doesn't have a lot of fantasy value.
Mm-hmm.
Kittle clearly does. I think you're totally right that they're going to run a lot of 12 personnel. I still wonder if there's not some question who that. I think Sinnott has gone to the top of the board here, but they got some decisions to make with the tight end situation. You still got Bates.
Yeah.
Armani Rogers.
But I think you count in Sinnott.
Oh, like from a roster perspective,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a roster spot. He's what was he, a third-round pick?
Mm-hmm.
Fourth-round pick? Third-round pick. It's going to be really interesting to watch that all play out, but I think when people get so excited about Sinnott, they forgot that at least for this year, Ertz is there, and just kind of seeing Ertz in person, he's huge. And tight end has become a position where everybody's huge.
Yeah.
But Ertz, you can tell why he's played so long. You wonder what happens with Cole Turner, who has always been a really good practice player, and it just hasn't translated. Armani Rogers is kind of another wild card in all of that. Rogers looked really good last year and late. What year would that have been, B? Late in the 22 season when he was on the field.
See that statement you made right there? That's something he's going to have to help eliminate from his career.
Yeah,
he won't be around very long.
He had the Achilles, right?
Like when it's always about when he's on the field. If it's when you're on the field, then eventually they stop waiting for you to be on the field, and they move on and find somebody else that could be on the field consistently.
I wonder if with Rodgers and Cole Turner, I mean, let's just be honest. I like both those players. They've got to recognize they're probably on the outside looking in, right, of a roster spot. Rodgers probably still has practice squad eligibility. I don't know if Turner would, but they've changed those rules so much, maybe he would.
I would say most players don't think that way, but as they go through the OTAs and then the mini camps and then training camp, you have to be cognizant of your reps and who you're working with or not working with.
Sure.
And that will tell you the story.
Well, and DQ was clear that this time of year, it tells you nothing about the depth chart, but when you get to August, it does. And that's going to be pretty interesting to kind of watch unfold. I think, talking to Mike about it this morning, Sinnott in a dynasty league, I think has a lot of value. But I think if you're drafting for this season, I wouldn't forget about Ertz. I think Ertz is tight end one.
Well, I'm going to leave that for you and Mike. I'm only worrying about what he's going to do on the team.
You're not a dynasty guy?
I don't care a damn thing about fantasy.
Best ball?
No.
PPR?
No.
QB TD 6?
No.
Two QB?
I care
Two
about
QB league?
Sundays, Mondays, occasionally Thursdays.
2 QB league?
Mm-mm.
What do you think? So I don't know if you know this, but Austin Eckler has made a big deal about caring about fantasy.
Mhm.
And he posts videos for his fantasy owners, I guess. To me, that is super smart and setting himself up very well for life after
It is.
football.
But like people that really get concerned about it, but I care about the real football.
No. But I'm saying as a player for Eckler,
Yeah.
as he's in his career, to be cognizant, mention it, and embrace
If
that
that's
world.
something he really is into and want to continue doing it, I think it's a great move. But it doesn't excite me whatsoever.
Yeah. I just think it's interesting. Did you see Draymond try to say the NBA doesn't set people up for wealth because of the fine system?
Some people, when they speak, you just don't repeat what they say.
That's why I couldn't believe they put him on.
He only has 9 figures of money he's already made. And if he is not set up for wealth, then he's a dumbass.
That's
has nothing to do with the league.
Dude. And they only fine you when you act like an ass.
Yeah, and they fine you, you make 25, 30 million, and they fine you 100,000.
Right.
Okay. All this fines together has not come up to what he made last year. And he's been fined a lot.
Totally.
And somebody out there is going to say, yeah, that's right, man. No. If somebody makes 100 million and then they go broke, that has nothing to do with them being fined.
The audacity to do that. But I do like when guys are cognizant. Maybe Eckler just really likes fantasy football. I don't know. But it feels like I'm going to set things up for after football. Good look.
I think if he truly is that much into it, he's into it. I don't know if he's like, oh, I'm going to set it up for after football. I think he's really into it at this point. If it works out that way, he'll continue. But that's a lot of time to invest in something for later.
Yeah, maybe he's just into it.
As long as it doesn't affect, if it affects his play, then it'll become a topic for me.
Draymond has made $177 million.
That's what I'm trying to say. So, and he been fined.
What's he been fined? Maybe $5 million?
Yeah,
maybe. And dude, I've always wondered this: when you're making that much money, and you got to pay a lot of taxes. Aren't the fines a charitable thing? Can't you write those off?
Normally,
I understand it's not dollar for dollar.
I don't think the actual player could write that off anymore. Because that's like when you would get fined back in the day. I thought guys like, okay, well, it's a write off, but the leagues, they take it and then they send it to the NFL is normally something that benefits the NFL.